We often think of empathy as something we do, an act of kindness, a comforting word, a gesture offered to someone in need. But perhaps empathy begins much earlier. Perhaps it begins with simply being present to another life. Look at this photograph. A mother holds her infant close. Around her, others sit quietly. No one appears to be performing care. No one is trying to explain, advise, rescue, or even necessarily participate. And yet there is something deeply philosophical happening here. The mother and her child occupy one small world of intimacy, while the others occupy theirs. They are separate beings, with separate experiences. And still, they share the same space. This raises a fundamental question. What does it mean for one consciousness to exist beside another? We can never completely enter another being's experience. I cannot literally become you. I cannot feel your pain exactly as you feel it. There is always a boundary between oneself and another. And perhaps empathy is not the destruction of that boundary. Perhaps it is the recognition of the boundary, and the willingness to remain near it. We often believe understanding requires words. But this photograph suggests something more primitive and perhaps more profound. Before language, there was presence. Before explanation, there was proximity. Before the mind said, I understand you, perhaps life simply said, I am here. The mother does not need to explain why she holds her child. The child does not need to explain its vulnerability. And the others do not need to solve anything. Their quiet presence reminds us that not every reality needs to be altered to be acknowledged. Perhaps this is where empathy differs from sympathy. Sympathy can stand outside another's experience and say, I feel sorry for you. Empathy attempts something more difficult. I recognize something of your condition because I too am vulnerable to existence. We may differ in species, language, intelligence, culture, and circumstance. Yet underneath those differences lies something strangely universal. The need for shelter, the experience of vulnerability, and the desire not to exist entirely alone. Look closely at the stone steps beneath them. Each creature occupies a different position, yet all are resting upon the same ground. Perhaps that is the deeper metaphor. We do not need to become identical to belong to the same reality. We only need to recognize that our separateness does not cancel our connectedness. And maybe empathy, at its deepest level, is not an emotion at all. It is a way of seeing. A way of seeing another being not as an object in our world, but as another center of existence, another life experiencing the mystery of being alive. And sometimes, the most philosophical response to another's existence is not to speak, not to judge, and not to intervene. It is simply to remain present. To be there. And perhaps that is the silent language of empathy.